really don't understand the internet sometimes. Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen and to time capsule cooking. Now I don't know what the weather is like in your neck of the woods, but around here in East Tennessee it is finally starting to cool down from the hot summer that we had. A few of the leaves are starting to turn color, but more importantly, it's starting to actually feel nice. The sort of weather where you can go out and sit on your porch without having to worry about getting too hot. And so my mind's starting to think less of salads and refrigerated desserts and more along the lines of the cozy, warm, comfy sort of meals that you make in the fall and the winter. And so this week I am going to be trying out an eggplant sausage casserole. This recipe comes from the 1984 edition of Southern Living's annual recipes, specifically in the September section because, well, it's September. It comes along with some tips for cooking with eggplant, such as how to deal with the peel or what color the eggplant should be. All appreciated tips because I've never actually cooked with eggplant before. I mean, I've eaten it before, mostly in the form of eggplant parmesan, but it was never one of those vegetables my family actually grew in our garden, so I just don't have a lot of experience with cooking with it because it wasn't easily on hand. For me, it was always just that funny looking purple thing in the corner of the produce aisle that we never actually cooked with. But to be honest, it kind of irks me that there are easy to find vegetables that I just haven't worked with before, so I'm looking forward to fixing that today. Our ingredients list is pretty long today. It's not an overly complicated sounding recipe, but there's just a lot that goes into it. We're going to need, of course, 2 medium eggplants, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, a pound of bulk pork sausage, a 1/2 cup of sliced onion, 3/4 cup grated Parmesan cheese, divided, 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley, 1/2 teaspoon of dried whole oregano. We'll also need 3 large tomatoes, peeled and sliced, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, and yes, I did already mention salt. We'll get to that in a bit. 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, 2 tablespoons fine dry breadcrumbs, and 2 tablespoons butter or margarine. The first step is to peel our eggplant. Is it supposed to look like that? Don't tell me I got a bad eggplant. Next step is to cut these into 1/3 inch slices, which is weirdly specific, but okay. In order to get those weirdly specific size slices, I'm going to have a little bit of a hand from Hello Kitty here. Just a note. If you try that trick, you may want to fold the edge of the parchment or wax or whatever paper you're using underneath the pencil marks so they do not go all over your countertop. Now we're going to take the slices of eggplant and we are going to sprinkle them with the first amount of salt, the 3/4 teaspoon. We're going to let them sit for a 1/2 hour. That should let some of the excess water drain out of this. Okay. It's been about 30 minutes and you can see just how much liquid has came out of these eggplant slices. We're going to pat them to dry and then we're going to go ahead and fry them in the oil, which we have already heating in the skillet. Editing Linity here, popping in to say a few things that I learned with this recipe. This is how I learned that eggplant hates me. 1, I don't get my oil hot enough. 2, eggplants are going to soak up oil like a sponge, no matter how hot you get said oil. 3, using strictly medium heat, like directed in this recipe, is not necessarily going to get your eggplants both just done and brown. And 4, I might be allergic to eggplant. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. It's just that took a lot more oil than the recipe called for. But now that the eggplant is done, it's time to go ahead and fry the sausage along with the sliced onion. We're going to cook this until our sausage is brown, and then we are going to drain off the drippings. Our next step is the cheese layer for the casserole. We combine half a cup of our parmesan, the parsley, and the oregano. And now we're going to work on our last layer, which is simply sprinkling the remaining 1/4 teaspoon of salt and the 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper onto our sliced and peeled tomatoes. Okay, so we've got all of our layers prepped. It's time to go ahead and assemble this sucker. In a greased 2-quart casserole dish, we're going to start with the eggplant, then the sausage and onion, then the cheese mixture, and then the tomatoes. Finally, we're going to add our remaining 1/4 cup of parmesan and the breadcrumbs, which we're going to sprinkle on top. And now it's ready to be put into the 375-degree oven for 45 minutes. Okay, so our casserole is out of the oven, and first impressions, I'm noticing a few problems. The eggplant slices have pretty much disappeared at the bottom of the casserole, squished by the weight of the sausage and tomato. And as you scoop out some of the casserole, you notice a rather sizable puddle taking the place of where this piece used to be. There is a rather sizable puddle on the saucer where I've put my serving here. And I had a feeling that that would happen because I've had experiences with casseroles in the past that used raw tomato as a topping layer that had similar issues with excess liquid. But appearances aren't everything, so let's give it a taste. And now I feel oh so bad for bad-mouthing you, because overall the flavors really go well together, because you've got the brightness of the tomato, which is balancing out the spiciness of the sausage, with the parmesan just kind of coming in through there also. And yet I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is that the eggplant lends to this dish. And for it to be called Eggplant Sausage Casserole, I really would have preferred the eggplant to stand out a little bit more rather than being literally pushed to the bottom of this dish. It's really not that bad overall, but considering the amount of time you spend frying the eggplant and the sausage and everything, I'm just not certain it's worth the time investment. But not all of them can hit it out of the park. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos. Once again, thanks for watching, and until the next recipe. Bye.